turn on the sprinklers if the fire gets closer. The fire department never really recommends that, so we'll keep an eye on what's going on. Oddly enough, you know, the irony is that many a fire that we've covered in the past has actually been sparked by brush clearance. We've heard that in the past where they've been out there doing the brush clearance and some of the machinery hit some rocks, it creates some sparks, or there's hot exhaust, and the next thing you know, there's a brush fire. We don't know that for a fact. We just bringing that up because we were talking about the brush fire, but the original call was for here on Portola. I don't remember the exact numbers. I think it was 9,500 block of Portola, and that's going to be that general area that we're showing you right there. There is a property, and right above that property where a number of firefighters are right now, this seems to be the ignition point where that fire started this afternoon and basically ran up that hillside. So if you can see a number of the firefighters up there right now, they're starting to do their climb on that hillside. Those are going to be some of those, the brush response, the guys that are, you know, they carrying those big heavy backpacks and hiking up these hillsides in this heat and working around these flames. Very dangerous, very hard work. Those are pretty much, in my eyes, the unsung heroes of any one of these brush fires, especially when the fire is out. In the end, we always talk about the helicopters because that's what we see, but those guys on the ground, those are the ones that are really doing the back-breaking work. Right now, though, the fire is doing pretty much what we were expecting it to do, and also I'm sure the firefighters from LA City and LA County making its way to the top of that hillside and now starting to slow down. Juan was very keen on pointing out earlier on that the smoke basically, or was it you, Suzanne? I'm sorry, I didn't want to give somebody credit, but that the smoke basically now almost going straight up, a little bit to the north, but almost going straight up, and that does show that it is very light winds, and that's the only positive check right now, that and the fact that some of the world's best firefighters are down there working to keep these flames in check. But it is definitely a hot day today. And the terrain is definitely not helping this situation, but it also gives you an idea. Those are people down there, and then you just kind of pan over and you see these huge flames. Those flames probably about 15 feet tall as they're working their way up that hillside. So these are very, very large flames, and that the fuel that is down there, that chaparral, that's full of oils, and it's in this afternoon burning very, very quickly, and of course heating the way and creating more fire as it climbs up those hillsides. Once it gets to the top, though, that's where the break hopefully will be. We're going to keep an eye on it for sure. 20-plus acres out here, Benedict Canyon. No mandatory evacuations, but there's people in the area should start thinking about grabbing their things and moving along. Hang on. What? What? Yeah. High Ridge. Yeah. That's Beesland. Beesland. Okay, cool. But it's Margaret. I love Margaret. Never met her. And keep an eye out. If you see black smoke out there and you know that it's a structure, that's a big thing. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and freak one. I'll turn it up. I'm sorry, guys. Yes. I will find out for you. I just got to let you know there was a fire out to the east, way out to the east, probably in county, maybe points beyond. Was putting up a huge loom up now, not so much, but I'm just letting you know if that adds into your factor. Let me find out exactly on fuel, but I would guess we probably have about 40, maybe an hour. What do we got for fuel? 1 hour. Copy all. Understood. Why? Where are they getting water from? They're going far. Oh, that was cool where he picked up the smoke and the rotor wash. Copy. Yeah. Goes, yeah, to Molland. Well, Suzanne, we've been watching this fire grow, 20 acres plus right now. It actually is slowing down. The last bit of real vegetation, the fuel, is starting to eat that up as it's making its way to the top of that ridge line. Let's get folks up to speed exactly where we are, what we're looking at, and where this fire is. Everybody's talking about Benedict Canyon. Benedict Canyon. Well, this is going to be Benedict Canyon. That's the road that's going to be basically from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. And Portola, that's the street where this fire actually started. That was the original fire call. That's going to be the intersection right there. The actual fire itself started basically at the end of that street, where the street dead ends into the canyon hillside. And you can see some smoke still there in the area. Firefighters, they do have structure protection, on both Yoakum and Portola, but in this case we're looking at Portola right now. We're hearing 200 plus firefighters there on the ground. That's a large amount of firefighters, and right now they're basically setting up, starting to make their way up onto that hillside. Now we're talking 20 acres plus. What's actually burning probably less than that up towards the top of the hill there, but you can see this area right here. This is what has burned. This is actually charred earth down there, light smoke still working in the area. Right now, though, it's making its way up to the top part of that run. We've been watching all the helicopters, LA County and LA City Fire, making drops along that ridge line right there, basically slowing down the flames as they come to the top of that hill, and hopefully that's where they're going to make that stand and try to stop the forward progression. That's basically meaning they don't want that fire to move any farther than that point right there. That's the line in the sand as it would be. You know, you were talking about a lot of smoke. We heard Roger down there on the ground a couple of canyons away, and people out there seeing it. Let me just do one of those pans right now. So this is the fire. This is going to be in the Benedict Canyon area, but take a look at where that smoke is going. It's kind of blowing off to the north, and it's laying down a little bit, or just basically flattening out all over the San Fernando Valley, Van Nuys area, and then actually into the hills past that. So I wouldn't be surprised if people in Santa Clarita are saying, hey, I'm smelling a little smoke. That smoke is going to be coming from this fire out here. And this is just like we've been talking, well, it is actually a large amount, 20 plus acres. Now, of course, there are a lot of homes in the area. When the first firefighters got here on scene, that was their biggest concern. Obviously, life would have been one above that, but it didn't seem like there was any immediate life in danger, but property was definitely in danger, so we got a huge response out here as quickly as they could. Now, those helicopters doing a lot of the work, dropping a lot of water out here, and have been basically slowing that progression of the fire a lot. Right now, though, is fire far from out. Those homes, it looks like they're in a better place right now. We did hear Margaret Stewart from LA City Fire talking about immediate danger, meaning that the flames or the fire is getting closer to homes or could be burning towards homes, and that's how that immediate danger is defined. Right now, those we're moving Sky 9, Brendan, the helicopter pilot this afternoon, and we're just going to move around a little bit. Basically, we're moving to the east so we can show you that ridge line, and we can see how the firefighters are using the natural hillsides as fire breaks out here. Knowing how fire behavior works with these light winds, they're able to drop water on that ridge line right there, and hopefully that canyon, that little box canyon area, is where that fire is going to stop. In the end, right now, we can tell you, no injuries to any persons on the ground or firefighters, huge plus. No structures damaged as of yet, but this fire is still very active out here in the Benedict Canyon area. Well, that's really interesting, Juan, because and you are 100% right. We're listening up. We haven't heard any. They were calling for fixed wing, almost the original calls when they were first setting up what could happen. They were talking about bringing fixed wing aircraft out here. That was one of the first things they said. I haven't been privy to the information if they've been canceled, or perhaps they are. Most of the fixed wing. We don't have the Super Scoopers here yet. Those are those big yellow aircraft that we see coming down from Canada that we lease. We lease, not we, but the city of Los Angeles leases. We haven't seen them out here yet. They're not staging, so they're not here yet. So any of the planes that we would see would come from farther airports. Maybe they haven't made their way out here yet. But as far as fixed wings, the simple answer is we have not seen any Phos-Chek drops. It has basically been LA City Fire helicopters, LA County Fire helicopters, and of course those boots on the ground. All right. Where's Sandra Cito Drive? Okay. So it's pretty much straight down right now. Okay. A little bit of a rough start, but in the end, I think the last couple of minutes were good. They bumped us up again? They are coming, the fixed wing. Hey, assignment desk, are we still up on the web, or did we get bumped off the web because we went to the show? Are we still live on the web? Are we still live on the web? All righty, copy that. So, Websters, thank you for hanging out with us and sticking with us through the show and stuff. If the picture has changed a little bit and you're like, hey, why is everyone, Stu, why did you push in? What happened to all those close-up shots? They have put us up in the stratosphere. I'm thinking about popping off some pictures because, yeah, the International Space Station is coming through here any minute now. They're going to be calling out traffic. They bumped us way up because those fixed-wing aircraft are actually going to start showing up here in a little bit. Late to the party? I would say so. I can say that because we're on the web. But you know what? That's the thing. Those guys, they are on the ready, but they aren't like they don't just run out there and take off like we do in the helicopter. They got stuff to do, and they've got checklists to go through, and they got to load those aircraft up with FOS check. They got to make the FOS check. They got to wake up the guy to put the FOS check in the plane. So it's one of those things. It's a process. So now they're starting to arrive here on scene. This fire, you know what? I'm going to just take a stab in the dark, and I'm going to say that this fire pretty much has no place to go. It is basically ran up that hillside. It's going to be at that peak right there. When those fixed wings show up and they start laying down that FOS check, that's definitely going to be the last nail in the coffin for this fire. If they didn't show up, I'm sure LA County, LA City, they'd be down there. They'd get the crews in place, and they'd be nailing that thing down as well. So far, no structures have been damaged. Structures definitely threatened in this area. Where is this again? If you're just joining us, where the heck have you been? If you're just joining us, this is going to be in the Benedict Canyon area, off of Benedict Canyon and Portola. Portola is one of the littler streets. Let me see if I can find it now that we're up in the stratosphere. That's off of Benedict Canyon. Okay, wait, that's okay. So that's going to be Portola right there. That was Yoakum. This is going to be Portola. So this is the area where the original fire call came out. So something's